Hey guys, welcome to another math lesson. Today's date is 4/20/20. So on your paper, you want to put math and then today's date, which is 4-20-20. And for this lesson, you are going to need to write down the equations that we come up with, but I'm not going to have you write 10 frames unless you want to. Will definitely need to do 10 frames for the homework that goes with this, but for this, so that you don't spend so much time writing 10 frames, or you can have a parent draw the 10 frames for you and you can fill those in. So if you want, you can go ask a parent to go ahead and draw some 10 frames for you. But we're going to call this first problem, problem number 1. So go ahead and put a number 1 on your paper, because this is our first problem. All right, so 14 students go to the zoo. That sounds fun. 14 students go to the zoo. The first bus takes 10 students because that's how many students it can hold. The rest of the students go on a second bus. Use counters to describe the situation. Then complete the equation to match the counters and tell how the counters in equation showed 10 ones and some more ones. Okay, so what they want us to do is take the numbers that they told us just now, fill in the buses, which is also our 10 frames, and then we're going to show what we came up with in our equation. So they said that there's 14 students in all, so we know in the end there's going to be 14. The first bus, do y'all remember how many students is in the first bus? There's 10 in the first bus. So let's call this bus up here the first bus. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 10 students, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I have 10 students in there. Now I got to figure out how many students are going to go in the second bus, because now the rest of the students have to go in the second bus. And we know that there's going to be 14 altogether because there's 14 going to the zoo. So if there's 10 in the first bus, the rest of them have to go in here. So we need to have 14 altogether. So let's go ahead and say 10 for the first bus. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 4 more is left over in the second bus. So that means for our equation, we need to have this first number being whoever is on the first bus, and there's 10 of them, right? So I'm going to put the number 10 for the first bus. And how many did I end up with on the second bus? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4. So let's go ahead and put our 4 here. So we knew that there was 14 that were going to the zoo. 10 of them were able to fit on the first bus, and then the rest of them, being 4 people, were on the second bus. So 14 is 10 ones and 4 more ones, also known as 14 equals 10 plus 4. So you want to make sure you write down this equation to show that you are working it out with me and you're helping me out. 14 equals 10 plus 4. All right, we're going to go on to the next page, but go ahead and pause it if you need more time to write that problem down. Remember, this was problem number 1. We're going to go on to problem number 2 now. All right, number 2. Okay, so go ahead and put a 2 on your paper so you don't forget. Right, here's our number 2. Okay, so it says, use counters to show 14. Draw them in the double 10 frame and complete the equation to match the picture. Okay, so we need to show 14 in here, almost like our school bus. So that means we need to fill up the first one and the rest of them go in the second one. So let's go ahead and do that. So we already know that this one filled up is going to be 10. So let's start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's keep going to get 14. So we said 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so that has 14 counters in there. Our total is 14, so we know that's correct because all of those added together are 14. Now, how many is in this first 10 frame? Oops, 10, right? So we'll have 10 over here. And then how many is in the second 10 frame? 4. So we'll put 4 over here. 4 is all messed up, but you know that's a 4. Okay, so that means our number 14 is made up of 10 ones and 4 more ones because there's 10 ones up here and 4 more at the bottom. So 14 equals 10 plus 4. So go ahead and write down this equation. And we're going to go to number 3 now. Problem number 3. So once we do the same thing, but this time we have the number 16. So we want to show 16 on our double 10 frames. So we know we have to fill up the first row because there's at least 10 in the number 16, right? But instead of stopping at 10, I'm just going to count all the way until I get 16, okay? So here's my number 16. Now we have to show it in our 10 frames. 1, 2, 3, and make sure you're counting with me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, and that's our number right here, 16. So I put 16 in the double 10 frame. So now I have to finish filling out our equation over here. I got to figure out what number goes here and what number goes here. If you already know, you can go ahead and start writing it down. So in this first part right here, what number do we put first? 10, right? Because there's 10 in the first 10 frame. So we're going to write 10. Oh, this is so... I am sorry about this handwriting. It's very difficult to write numbers on a computer. So I have 10. And then how many is on the second 10 frame? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So let's put the number 6. So there we go. We completed our equation. And we got these numbers from the 10 frames that we filled in. So 16 is 10 ones and 6 more ones. So go ahead and say that out loud. 16 is 10 ones and 6 more ones. So that means 16 equals 10 plus 6. And that's the same thing as saying, hey, what is 10 plus 6? 10 plus 6 equals 16. We're just working backwards. It's almost like we're creating our very own equations. All right, let's move on to number 4 and make sure you wrote down this equation right here because I'm going to be checking your paper. And for number 3, you should have 16 equals 10 plus 6. Okay, let's do number 4 now. All right, number 4 says, draw counters to match the equation. Then have them tell how the picture in the equation shows 10 ones and some more ones. Okay, so this one should be fairly easy. I'm going to let y'all think about it for just a second. I want y'all to think about what number should go up here and what number should go down here. So go ahead and start thinking about it. Try to say it out loud before I do, okay? So we know there's going to be 15 altogether. So how many do I put in the top 10 frame? This first one right here. Did you say 10? Because that's correct. So let's go ahead and put 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now how many do they want me to put in my second 10 frame? What's that number that's being added on to 10? 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just to make sure we did that correct, we can count all these and get 15, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. We know it's correct because there's 15 altogether, just like this number. So 15, and I want y'all to say this out loud. Say 15 is 10 ones and 5 more ones. And then I want you to say out loud, 10 plus 5 equals 15. And go ahead and write down your answer for 4. Go ahead and write down this equation for number 4. All right, so on your paper, you should have already had that first one done. We have number 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to move on to number 5 now. Okay. Remember, you don't have to fill in these 10 frames as long as you do it for the homework portion. Okay, so here we go. Number 5. So write 5 on your paper. All right, have students draw counters to match the equation. All right, we're going to match the equation again. So this is the equation they give us right here. And now we have to make the 10 frames show what this equation is telling us. So what do we know? We know that our number in the very end is going to be 16. So we're going to have 16 of these. All the counters in here is going to add up to 16. Now, if we look at what 16 and how we created 16, we see 10 plus 6. So we know that one of our 10 frames, the first one, is going to have 10 in it, right? So let's count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the second 10 frame is going to have this other number that also helps create 16. So that's the number 6, right? So count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good job. So we know 10 and 6 is 16. So if you added all those up, you would get 16 because 16 is 10 ones and 6 more ones. So go ahead and write this equation right here and say the numbers as you write it. So you would say 16 equals 10 plus 6. And you can see, let me go ahead, do this. So when we're looking at the number 16 right here, it shows us how many sets of 10 there is in it by this number 1 right here. So this 1 means that there's one set of 10. And this 6 means that there's one set of 6. So 16 equals 10 plus 6. All right, number 6, right here. All right, so we're doing the same thing. We're filling in our 10 frame. So let's see, what do we know? Our number is 14 altogether. So our sum, remember when we're adding, we're looking for a sum, which is our answer. So 14 is our sum. That's the number altogether. So we know our answer is 14. Now how do we create 14? We create it with a 10 and a 4, right? That's what the equation's telling us. So 14 has 10 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 4 more ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So if you added all those together, you would get what number? 14. And then I want you to say out loud, 14 is 10 ones and 4 more ones. And I want you to write this equation down for number 6. 14 equals 10 plus 6. So that was for number 6. All right, last problem that we're going to do all together. And this is number 7. So far you should have for number 5, this equation, and number 6, this equation. So let's see, what does it say for 7? Have students use counters to show 16. Draw them in the double 10 frame and complete 2 equations to match the picture. Okay, so we can do that. So what do we know? We know that we're looking for the number 16, right? So how about we go ahead and write our number 16 right here, because we don't want to forget what number we're looking for. So we're looking to show the number 16. How about we go ahead and first fill in our 10 frame. So let's count all the way until we fill up with 16. And count out loud with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, and we stopped there because it told us our number, 16. All right, so the number 16, what did we get in our first 10 frame? 10, right? Because 16 is made up of 10 ones. So this is my number 10. And then how many more ones is in 16? I have 10 ones, and then how many more ones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So I put 6 here. So let's say what we know out loud. 16 is 10 ones and 6 more ones. All right, so they wanted us to show the same equation, just a little differently though. So let's look at our symbols. We see a plus sign here, so we know what numbers go on each side of it are going to be added together. And we have our equal sign, and we already know our total is 16, right? Let's go ahead and put 16 here, because we know after our equal sign, we should have 16. So this equation should do the same thing as this top equation. It should just be a little different. So go ahead and think about what numbers I'm going to fill in over here. I'm going to go ahead and change the color. If you want to go ahead and write it before me and try to beat me to it, you can do that. So we have 16 equals 10 plus 6. Now we need to figure out what plus what equals 16. Well, let's look at our 10 frame again. We know 10 can be down here. So let's put 10. And we know the other number in our second 10 frame is 6, right? So we just plug that in right here too. So it's the same thing as what we did up here. It's just flipped the opposite way. So this is 16 equals 10 plus 6. And this is 10 plus 6 equals 16. Those are the same, aren't they? Those are the same thing. They're just flipped. There we go. So you should write these 2 problems for number 7. So number 7, you should have written these 2 problems. And remember, you can pause the video and you can always rewind it if you didn't have time to write something earlier. But that's it for this video. You have a worksheet that goes with it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like real quick, but you're going to have a parent read it all to you. And if you want, you can also just print it out as well. So this is what the first page looks like. So your parent's going to read, or your brother or sister is going to read what the directions say. It's going to be very similar to what we just did. And then this is the other part. So if you ever get confused as to how to do it, just look back at the video we just did, and it might help you figure out these, okay? But those you're going to do all by yourself. All right, and I'll have those printed out, or not printed out, but there will be a link to these 2 pages on ClassDojo, okay? So both of these pages, this one and this one, is on Class Dojo for you. All right, bye everyone.